Someone You Should Know. A program about people you know and even more that you don't. Hosted by Stuart Sachs, veteran, husband, father, and grandfather. Now, here's your host, Stuart Sachs.
Well, welcome to another edition of Someone You Should Know. Glad you're with us again. And I very, very much appreciate all of you who follow us on a regular basis. You send in your comments, you hit the like button. It's going to my head. I'm really, really thrilled. And it was good hearing from some people from all over the country this week, too, because we're going to have a great show today. And as always, we are brought to you by DFWNetworkingDiva.com. And that is my good friend, Christine Dean. She is a marketing guru. She can help you with your website, help you improve your business, and you can all do it for a free consultation. Just go to that website. Christine she's a genius. She really is. DFWNetworkingDiva.com. Sign up for a free consultation. You won't regret it. Got a great show today because we got somebody that I've always really wanted to have an auctioneer on my show because there's lots of aspects to it, and so we got the best that North Texas has got. And we got Dean McCurry, who is in the house with us. Dean, welcome.
Hey, great to be here, Stuart. I'm happy. It's a beautiful Wednesday. It's hump day, and I'm excited to be here, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Well, and you sold us on the beautiful day. Sold
25 minutes. Sold. Here we go.
You know, I am just fascinated with what you do and how you do it, because over the years I've been to my share of auctions. Some of them have been estate auctions. Some of them are old antique auctions. Some of them are flea market type auctions. It's always fun to just go and sit and watch the stuff that comes up. But I've always been fascinated, I guess maybe because of a broadcasting background, but the auctioneer talks a mile a minute. And is that a learned talent? Is it something that you just really have to know how to talk fast in order to do it? Or is it something that you develop?
Well, it's a combination of both, Stuart. Basically, I was doing it. It started out, I was calling bingo for my kids' school is how I got into this. I worked for Western Digital Corporation for 20 years. And on the side, I was doing, I called bingo at my kids' school. And the lady said,
okay.
Wow, you're great at bingo. B12, N35, 064. Would you do an auction? And I said, absolutely, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I did that. We raised $30,000 versus $3,000 the year before. Everybody had fun, and it kind of set me into a sidebar career. So what I did was I had to get my license, just like a doctor, just like real estate, just like any other state agency. You've got to have your Texas state license. So you go to a class for 80 hours, and it was a Saturday through Sunday. And then also that after that, you take the state test, which I passed, and then you have continuing education each year. To answer your question specifically, I've always been kind of a type A personality. Yes, I talk fast. Yes, I move at a fast pace, but yet with the training and with the knowledge and an experience of being on stage probably 600 to 700 times, I've learned, the chant is what it's called, and you have filler words. So 2,500 bidadat is a filler word between $2,500 and $3,000. So you're doing a filler word between the dollar amount to the next dollar amount, getting the engagement of the audience. And the key is when you practice in the shower, on the road, in the radio, you're just more attuned to having a fun experience interactively with the crowd.
And it is, because it's that cadence that the auctioneer has that kind of gets the juices flowing among the people in the audience. And it's also kind of fun to watch the audience because, you don't do it. I guess I should say, in a smaller venue, you probably control everything, but in a large venue, you have to have spotters out there.
Absolutely, Stuart. You get a crowd like Catholic Charities or Cattle Barons or whatever it is. You've got 1,500 people at the Anatole or the Omni, and I can't see each person. So we call them spotters. All I do is fundraisers, nonprofits, and charities and benefit auctions. I don't do cows. I don't do cars. I don't do estates. It's just you got to find a niche market that you want And the feel good feedback of helping soldiers that are wounded, helping sex trafficking or women that are abused or homeless people or kids with cancer or American Heart. It makes me feel really good that at the end of the day, I'm helping other people to raise money. But the crowd size is very kind of mission critical. If somebody we're going to have 200 people in the room, I will have one spotter, which is also called a ringman. A ringman, when you see the car auction, they're going like a machine gun, 800 miles an hour. For me, if I go too fast, 25, you bid a minute, 20, go 3,000, you bid a minute. When I'm going too fast, there's a lady in the corner that just sold an oil well estate, and she's a billionaire, and she can't understand or hear me. So I'm going 25, when I go 25, go to 3. 3,000, bid a 3, go to 35. 35, bid 35, go to 4. When I see the bids, I'm moving up the food chain. So again, I want to be clear. And when I close the auction, going once, going twice, so nobody can say, hey, he closed too fast, or I was going to bid that, or I was thinking about this trip or experience. You want to make sure that the committees and the people at the organization have optimized the fundraising for the night, no matter what the crowd. So if I have 1,000 people, I'll have 8 spotters, probably 7 to 8 spotters.
Oh yeah. And then, and am I correct that the spotter's role is to watch for the people in their designated area that are raising their card or nodding their head and all? And I often hear one of those spotters going, yep.
That's the key word. Yeah, you're right, Stuart. You're a pretty good spotter yourself. I should hire you. Anyway, I'd love to. The bottom line is you have all these tables. And so you kind of have a sectional spotter in a certain 4 to 5 to 6. If it's a 10 top, 50 to 60 to 70 people, they can kind of manage the crowd and see. People are not going to stand up and go, hey, I want that. They're not going to do that. They're going to see the spotter, or if they raise your hand, the spotter will convey that bid to me on stage. Yep, 2,500. Yep, 2,500 go to 3. Yep. So I see 3,000 in my mind. I know I can now go to 3,500 if it's increments of 500. But again, the spotter is mission critical. These guys have been to ringman school and they understand the communication to me. They're my spotters for my company, and they understand that, the lingo and what to do to raise the bids. They're not assertive to the point of aggressive to the people, because these people have money, they know what trip they want, etc. But yet these people are a facilitator to say, hey, are you interested in this trip to Tuscany? Absolutely. Here we go again. You bid 3,000. Yep. 3,500. Yep. So they're kind of a means between the person at the table who may be shy and me on stage trying to optimize the money.
Now, you mentioned that the majority of everything that you do is for nonprofit organizations and fundraising.
Yes.
And all. Were you ever involved in anything other than that? Just, I don't know. You mentioned cattle and cars.
Well, the car dealerships, they hire people that do, like, this car auction is on Tuesday. This one's on Wednesday. This one's on Thursday. These auctioneers are world champion, state champion auctioneers. They're at a speed. It's a workload that you can't believe. I've been to these, and maybe you have. You have to be a licensed dealer, I think, to get into them. But the cars are moving. This lane is Mercedes. This lane is SUVs. This lane is Corvettes. So each lane has an auctioneer up at the top, and they have a ringman to work the crowd. But if you're in Lubbock, Texas, and you're a car dealer, you're online to that bidding at that auction, and it's going very fast. The car never stops. The car moves through the lane, and it's sold, and the next car is going right through it. It's a very intense pace. It's a lot of pressure, and the auctioneers are the best of the business. I just don't do that because I enjoy what I'm doing, and I have a company built around the nonprofit auction business that we do.
Well, and for a nonprofit, I know that this is a terrific venue. It's a great vehicle to raise funds for any nonprofit. And am I correct that if your nonprofit is trying to raise $20,000, you can handle that? If they're trying to raise $200,000, you can handle that too.
Absolutely. We have a bidding technology. We have the raffle girls. We have the trips for the live items. We have merchandise for the silent items. We have purses for the silent items. I can donate if it's a particular auction, a trip or two for the heads or tails, which is a game we play. donation. We do the donation. So we're the arms and the eyes and the ears of the organization to raise money that night. The crowd is their database. The crowd is their sponsors, the ticket purchasers. We don't influence that. Our job is to optimize with the crowd the most fundraising money and dollars to be spent in a fun way. And I'm very interactive with the crowd. If you call me entertainment, I will take that compliment because I do entertain the crowd. I don't just stand on the stage and take a mic. I'll go work the crowd if I need to, and we'll have fun. I have a PowerPoint behind me with music. So if we're doing, Beaver Creek in a ski environment, what I'll say is behind me will be ski in and ski out, 5 nights, 8 people, beautiful location. Here's the pictures. And also we'll have the song, a snippet of John Denver, Rocky Mountain High play before I do it. So they're already excited. They see all the benefits and the attributes of the trip. The music comes up with John Denver, and then they're ready. They're wired. They're excited. And with the technology, we have it all down. It's all cell phone technology. They bid on their phones for the silent. They donate on their phones for the donations. It's just it's all cell phone. The mobile bidding technology is state of the art. There's no more bid sheets anymore. There's no more paddles you need. It's just all it's kind of so easy right now. We don't have checkout. Checkout, you know what you've got at the end of the night. Whatever you bought's on the phone, you go to the redemption area, pick up your basket, pick up your certificate for the trip, pick up your raffle item, and you're gone. So it's that easy.
Now, you are obviously the master planner, but this ain't nothing you can do all by yourself. So you have to have a staff of people that work on these various areas, getting the auction items, getting the raffles, getting the entertainment coordinated and all. Do you still have your hands in overseeing the whole operation?
Yeah, we have a team call every Tuesday, kind of a state-of-the-art weekly update of what we have coming up, what we did for a previous auction. I've got a lady that handles the event planning, and she also handles the purses and the merchandise for the women. We have watches, we have purses, we have baskets. I have a gentleman who's the best of the best that does memorabilia. And memorabilia is like, if it's the same stuff you see at every auction and it doesn't sell, it doesn't do you any good as the organization, and it doesn't do us any good. So that's called consignment items. So I have a gentleman that does that. I have a lady that handles the raffle girls to be at a certain place at a certain time in a dress appropriate mode for the theme of the event. So we're doing 3 quick events in August. One's in Boerne, Texas. One is a military event honoring our wounded military, HOWN.org. We'll have 5. They're going to have 600 people at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll have 4 raffle girls, and I'll have the staff for the technology, which is called Katego bidding system. We'll probably have 3 to 5 people there. And so the entertainment, I had dinner last night with Dino at Emerald City. We're really in tune with Emerald City and all his bands. My son has a country and western band. So we got DJs, etc. We have a photo booth person that does the photo booth for us. I have a photographer. I have an audio video person. So all these people, I can circle the wagons and say, you need help with the event planning. You want to raise some incremental money on the raffles. We have the trips. That's a big part of our group. I have now my own travel company. Then this is a big deal, Stuart, because before I was outsourcing third-party consignment companies, and now it's my own travel company. So these trips are vetted and destinations approved by me, and the lady who does our travel is director of travel, and she coordinates the concierge, etc. So if you're going to Tuscany, we have a group over there that's a partner. If you're going to France, if you're going to Ireland, if you're going to Turks and Caicos, if you're going to Broken Bow, if you're going to Napa for wine, we have trips for everybody of every budget. But when I'm on stage, I want to sell multiples. So Stuart, if you want to go to Tuscany, somebody else, rather than close one Tuscany trip at $5,000, I'll close 5 trips at $4,500, and you'll make $12,000 on one item. And that's called splitting the line of items, because I can sell as many trips as I want. And the destinations and people are traveling. Yes, we have COVID. Yes, we have the Delta variant. I'm not a medical doctor, but people are traveling, and we can just do the best we can. So we know the CDC restrictions. We're very in tune to what's going on medically with the mask and the negative test and all that. We're not the CDC, and we're not the doctors medical, but yet we do understand what country will offer what it takes. We have several people going to Cabo all inclusive this weekend to one of our all inclusive trips in Cabo. And it's just when you leave, it's the negative test at the hotel that you'll take and you'll be fine, get on the plane and come back. But yet travel is open. It's crazy. The airlines are going nuts and people are ready to get out and spend money for travel. And this is a 501c, so they have a tax write-off when they buy the trip.
That was one of the points that I wanted to make, because I think that's one of the absolute greatest benefits for people attending these events is the fact that, yeah, you know, you're a little skeptical about spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000
right.
to a trip. But the thing is, if you go out and buy a trip and spend $5,000 on the trip, that's $5,000 out of your bank account.
Yes.
It's gone. Have a great trip.
Absolutely.
Bring back some nice souvenirs. But if you're doing it at a nonprofit event, you're writing the $5,000 to the nonprofit, and you've got a tax write-off on that purchase. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's above the retail cost, and of course your CPA will answer that. But it's the retail cost above that. You do have a tax benefit, and again, your money is going to the organization, and that's the critical point here. Is that you just spent $5,000 on your own with a travel agency to go somewhere? Great. You go to the auction and you buy it for the same amount of money, and part of that benefit goes right to the organization. So literally, you're supporting the organization directly or indirectly by your vacation, your holiday.
That's part of the justification that your spouse has when you're there and you're bidding on something, and she said, "Are you sure you're going to spend that much money? You're going to say, hey, it's for a good cause. It's for a good cause.
Have another martini and you'll spend that money, right? Have another drink." Yeah, your point's well taken, because you're there for a reason. I mean, the database is the crowd of that organization. So if you're a sponsor with your table, with your friends, you're there to help support the organization. Do you donate? Do you buy a raffle? Do you buy a silent? Do you buy a live? Do you play the game heads or tails that I do? These are all ways to make money for the organization. And that's the critical path. It's been tough for the last 2020 and 2021 for these organizations, Stuart, because with COVID. So what we did in March of 2020 is we pivoted to virtual auctions. So we were doing like 5 or 6 a month of virtual auctions with a camera like this is on me. And Stuart, I couldn't see the audience. So I'm sitting here with a screen with the item, with the amount of money, and who's bidding. So it's a trip to Napa, and here's the dollar amount I see, and here's who's bidding. So what I do is at that time to generate revenue is I would sell the trip online, and then I would do the highest bidder and I would close it. And then if they wanted to buy the trip again after the fact, we put it on the thing that they would be able to still buy it, and it works out good. You could still sell the trip afterwards. But for the live auction, I was on the camera. I did American Heart about a month ago, and it was at my house in my kitchen. I had a big screen, a green screen behind me with American Heart logo. We raised a lot of money. It was a lot of fun, and it worked out perfect. So they had an MC. The MC introduced me. I did the auction, did it live. We had a great time, raised a lot of money, and that's all they could do because people were not ready to gather. Today, Stuart, they're gathering. It's in-person auctions. So you have online, you have hybrid, which is a combination of both in-person and online, online, virtual. You have virtual only, and then you have in-person. So it's kind of like getting back to in-person again. But again, people want to gather. They want to hear a band. They want to hear music. They want to have fun. They want to have a dinner. They want to see their friends.
Have a drink or two and a couple
Absolutely. Cocktails.
Yeah.
So it's a fun event. But again, with COVID, we couldn't do anything about it. So what we did was we switched. We pivoted to the virtual auction, which still allowed money to be raised to their donors and their supporters and their patrons vis-a-vis the virtual auction. It's streaming download video where they can see. I'm doing one on October the 23rd. This is the second year we've done it out of Chicago. So a Chicago adoption agency, Hopeful Beginnings, is doing another auction, this virtual. We're doing it at my house, but all the people are up there at a restaurant or gathering at a house and having Italian dinner. They see me, they bid, they have an MC, and they have music too. So that's kind of the way to do it. But now, Stuart, to your point, it's kind of getting back together again. And God forbid on Delta variant, I don't know what's going to happen,
Well, and you brought up an important point, and again, for those that are watching and listening to the show, dmauctionservices.com. You can go and get more information there. But you kind of ran right past a very important point, and we are in North Texas. And obviously, when there's in-person auctions, it's going to be in this area. I mean, do you ever travel around the country to go to?
Oh yeah, I go to
do
Chicago. I go to California. I go to Wisconsin. I go. I mean, literally, the issue for me is we primarily focus on the San Antonio, Austin. We're big in Houston. We do a ton of business in Houston, and then the Dallas Fort Worth area. We do it. Let me go back for a second. I have like 5 auctioneers. So if I'm booked, it's only me at that event. I can't be at 3 events in one night. Right. So I have 3, 4, 5 trained auctioneers that are charity, benefit, nonprofit that understand the dynamics of a charity auction versus a cow, a car, or antique. So they're trained by me to do that. I've got technology. We have computers that can go for the technology. We have 3, 4 staffs that can cover 3 to 4 auctions the same night. I've got 10 raffle girls. We've got trips you can sell at each auction. We have the purses. We have the merchandise. And the entertainment. You want a band, you want a DJ. What you do? You want country western, you want cover band, you want, whatever you want, we can get it. Like I said, Emerald City is one of the top bands in the United States. And I had dinner with him last night and very excited to partner. We've been partnered for a while. So he does a lot of cherries, and I recommend Emerald City as a band.
And again, this is something that for the folks that are watching in Seattle or in Boca Raton or anywhere else in the country, if you're trying to raise money for the organization, the last thing you need to be doing is sitting there planning. Let's interview some bands and let's check on this and the caterers and all of that. You need to run your organization. And you need to get that invite list and get people interested in coming. You put this in the hands of Dean McCurry and you say, okay, I want to do this event and we want the event. We've got a venue for it and it can handle 500 people. What would you suggest? And just put it in your lap. Am I right? Yeah,
because I've raised over $50 million in over 15 years.
How much?
$50 million.
Holy. And have you been doing this how long?
About 15 years. I mean, you'll do 200,000 to 300,000. You'll do $1 million, and Catholic Cherries will do $1 million a night. So the issue is
a lot of cash, Dean.
Well, I mean, literally, each event will raise. I write the check. The funds come through us. We do the credit card processing. After that, I have the check. I send the check. So I mean, did $250,000 for an event at a polo club in Houston for a grade school, a little elementary grade school. The database is theirs. It's not my database. You give the crowd what you will, and that's what you do. We will give the technology. We'll give the excitement. We have the trips. We have the silent. We have the raffles. I'll donate a raffle item if you need it. We want you to raise money. It's not about me. It's about the organization. So I don't care where you are across the country. We can fly in. If it's a virtual, like we said, we're doing Chicago for the 2nd year. So it's in my living room virtually, but all they're doing in Chicago is having a party, having fun at a restaurant, at a house, having Italian food, and they're buying the items that we're selling. And they're all excited because right now, if they don't feel comfortable gathering, then they're doing it. In Texas, it's pretty liberal where it's a lot of people are gathering in person. We have the venues, we have the staff, we have the technology, we have the trips. We're here to support your organization to make and exceed record money that you're trying to do. And that's what it is. You guys have the database. We'll give you ideas for themes. We'll give you decoration ideas. We'll give you event ideas. We'll give you entertainment ideas. But when it comes to money, we kind of know it after weekend upon weekend that golf tournament, galas, skeet shoot, luncheons. This is what's happening. I mean, people do different venues and different types, and we can swing whichever way they want to do it. The skeet shoot, raise a lot of money. We have Argentina dove hunt. We've got fishing trips. We've got hunting trips in Canada. We've got all these things that are kind of custom. If it's a ladies' luncheon, here goes purses. Here goes ladies' watches. Here goes baskets. If it's a gala, then you mix it men and women. If it's a golf tournament, we've got all the memorabilia for Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, things like that. Jordan Spieth. And again, things that are military. We have military items, a bunch of military items, patriotic, the Marine Corps flag, signed stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So we itemize or customize what we provide to that event based on the database of the crowd and based on the theme and the genre of the night.
And COVID just put a damper on everything.
It's sad. It's very sad.
we have a good mutual friend, Paul Hendricks, from the North Texas Veterans organization that raises funds to help veterans. They raise a lot of money every year with a golf tournament. Man, they got knocked out of commission. And all. Well, that's the money that golf tournaments. An awful lot of organizations have them. Tennis tournaments and golf tournaments.
Yes,
and all.
yes.
They weren't able to hold them because of COVID. This became a great optional way of doing it. You mentioned that, yes, in certain venues you can have it in person, but you can also do it virtually. And then you mentioned something called a hybrid. Explain
a hybrid is a combination
what the hybrid is all about.
The hybrid, good question, Stuart. Probably in January and fourth quarter of 2020 and the first 2 quarters of 2021, people, no matter what age, were still conscious and concerned about COVID. Whereas some of the people felt comfortable. They had their shots. They don't have a problem going. So we would do a hybrid. We would do a virtual at the site with the camera for those that are download, in the vision of me as the auctioneer. And then also we would have a smaller crowd in person. So you'd have the in-person 50 people, not 250, 50 people. And then you'd have the people that didn't feel comfortable at home. And that's the virtual auction. So in-person, virtual, the same event, but you accommodate those that are concerned with COVID and feel better at home, and those that are okay to come in a smaller crowd to the venue in person. So we can accommodate, that's a hybrid. And we're seeing now, to be honest with you, more people are coming in person now, but still the hybrid is an offering. And now that the Delta variant is coming on, God forbid, I don't know what's going to happen in this fall season, because we're booked.
Well, that's right. I mean, it'll be again a decision by people whether they want to attend in person. But depending on what happens with the Delta variant, we could kind of backslide and be forced, by regulations in order to curtail, or cut back on the restaurant, stuff and concerts will come back off the stages and everything and go back into virtual. So, you and your staff have to be, almost weekly looking at what's happening in all aspects to determine what you can do, because this is something that people have to plan in advance. They don't call you up on Tuesday and say, "Hey, listen, we'd like to do an event on Saturday night."
No, we have to plan. Yeah. The key is, the medical situation with COVID, we can't control that. Right. So if most hotels will be flexible, if there's a change, the golf courses, we're seeing people at golf courses that are still playing golf all the time. And then they don't usually, in 2021, 2020, the end of 2020, we saw golf courses where they were doing the party outside the patio and they weren't necessarily inside. I don't know where that's going to be in the fall, but the golf courses and the golf players and the outside, that's a little bit less. That's fine. We don't see many. Both people are having the golf tournament still. It's just a matter of afterwards where the crowd is. Is it inside for the buffet and the auction, or is it outside the patio based on the weather? But to your point, yeah, we have to, we can make the virtual auction decision a couple of weeks before. If this thing explodes where it's really a problem and it's still masked and people don't feel secure and safe, then yeah, we can do the virtual auction. The key is they can't miss an event. That fundraising money is mission critical for the organization. They know that, and we know that. We want to make sure that we can accommodate and modify whatever event they need to optimize their fundraising goals. And that's a mission. When I have a contract with an organization, I will go to their facility. I will go to the homeless. I will go to the doctor's office or with the wounded soldiers or whatever. I'll go to the hospital and see the kids. I want to know what the organization is about. If I don't have that feeling inside me on my compassion on stage, I feel like I've lost what they're there for. When I hear the director or the president or the CEO talk about their mission and talk about what the money's going for, I'm part of that. I am part of that. I'm aligned to that organization. And that's why we're not just a hired gun to get on stage. We're part of the environment that they're trying to create to be successful. And I've got to know what the mission is, what the organization's about, and who their database, what's the demographics of the crowd. Is it a young crowd? Is it an older crowd? Is it a money crowd? Is it a golf crowd? Is it men or is it women? Is it a clay shoot? Is it luncheon? When we know that and we determine the demographics of the crowd, then we can adjust for the live items, for the silent items, for the raffles, etc., based on the crowd. Because if you have shotguns at a luncheon, it probably is not going to sell. If you got shotguns at a clay shoot or a dove hunt in Argentina, it will sell. So you just got to be smart thinkers to make sure that people are just flying off the shelf, bidding on their phones and buying the items. And the technology is so easy. We've done that so many times. We have the staff, we have the equipment, we have the know-how. So what that does is give the organizers and the committee the freedom to have fun at the event, to get the crowd there, to engage with the crowd and entertain and be aligned with their patrons and not worried about, oh, the internet's down. Where's the router? What technology is not working? What's the AV problem, etc. These are things that we have to do before to ensure a successful event. Now, we can't be 100%, technology is technology, as you know.
Right.
But yet we feel 99, 98% that we're fine. We don't ever have any bad issues on our technology at all. We got it down to a science.
Well, and again, I think that this is what makes it easier on the organization is they can say, this is what we want. This is our bottom line. This is what we need to raise. And then your people can go to them and say, okay, we can do it in this way, this way, this way, and this way. And then they can go to their board and say, okay, here's 4 options. What do you think? Whether it's going to be a golf tournament with a dinner afterwards and an auction, or whether it's just going to be a straight out auction with entertainment, without entertainment. Maybe it's going to be a poker tournament or to do
casino, right?
And that makes it a lot easier on the organization. But the bottom line is the same. It's about raising money. And I mean, I don't think I can do anything other than applaud you and your staff for what you do, especially for nonprofit organizations. It's one thing to raise money for for-profit organizations, but the nonprofits have just taken it on the chin,
absolutely,
right,
absolutely,
for the last year and a half, and they can't afford to go under. So they need to have a way to raise funds, and they can do it in a small way or a big way, and you can help them do it.
Yeah, the goal that they've got financially, Stuart, is I want to know what the goal is. Is it 100,000? Then what I do is see, what have you done the last 2 years? Let me see the auction items. Let me see what sold, what didn't sell. Right. And then I can look at that, analyze that, determine what we need for a better financial hit for these people. The second thing is there's a stretch goal. You have a stretch goal in life. I have a stretch goal. So the goal is 100. Let's get 125. And that's the optimize. How do we do that? We add the raffle in. We add the heads or tails. We do the run around for the donate. We do better silent items. So if I can see what you did before, what you raised, what the net profit was, and then what we can do, I need to dive into the organization of the last year or two. If you had a golf tournament, my thing in golf tournaments are, and I've seen a million and I play golf, etc. And a lot of times they go to the golf course, they're focused on hitting balls, practice putting, getting in the cart, going to play. So they have a few beers in the golf course, have a fun time, great social environment, a lot of fun with the sport. They come in. If they didn't do good and the wife's calling, they go home and they haven't spent a whole lot of money. Well, we have the phones in the cart that they can bid on silent items or donate or look at the live. But yet, one of the things I tell people on the golf tournament, you've got your wives or your spouse. If it's on a Monday, a Sunday night, have a social dinner somewhere because you get people there together, both the husbands and the wives. So you make a lot of money on Sunday night, and then the golf tournament on Monday, you don't have the pressure because it's so sad to see a lot of guys put their clubs in the car, the wife's calling, the kids are screaming, and they go home, and you've missed the opportunity afterwards. So I'm just saying another idea is to say, hey, at the country club on Friday or Sunday night, if it's a Monday, or Thursday night if it's a Friday golf tournament, then try to do something. Or if you invite the wives and the spouses after the tournament to come out and have fun and hear a band and dance and spend money, then that's a great idea because you want to optimize both the husband and the wife. And if they join them and see the cause of the mission of the organization, they're in that organization, not just the golfers.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because just what you're saying is that you have the expertise of sitting down and as you said, learning about the organization, because if you know the organization, you can sell the organization
Absolutely.
to the people that are
Absolutely.
attending. So you do that, and you know the organization, then you can go back and take the tools that you need to say to them, this is what you do to reach your goal. You mentioned something, and it went right past my head, and you mentioned something about adding a game. Did you say high low or
Heads or tails?
Heads or tails? Yeah, what's that
runaround.
all about?
Before you do an auction, and this is funny, my daughter had a big event in Houston called Children's Fund, and there was 800, 900 people. And they had told me before I was employed to do that, they said, Dean, the crowd's like 20, 30, rich people in Houston. It's hard to get their attention. They've had cocktails. They're crazy. They're fun. And they said the other auctioneers in the past, it's been so difficult because the crowd is not conducive. They're not paying attention to the auctioneer because they're drinking, they're laughing and all that. With Heads or Tails, it's a game that started probably 10 years ago in the auction business. It's a quarter, flip a coin, and everybody pays $20 to get in. So the raffle girls that I've got are selling the Heads or Tails game. You could have a band that means you, or blinky light that you're in. So I tell people before the live auction, those that have already signed up, or I ask for $20 cash, bring it up. All my staff will get all the cash for the organization. That's 100% proceeds to the organization. So when the game begins, Stuart, you put your hand on your head or you put your head on your tail. That's your head, that's your tail. I flip a coin. Stuart, if it's heads and your hand's on your head, you're still in. If your hand's on your tail, Stuart, sit down, sit down. So the people are going crazy. They're going crazy. And if you have 500 people and 200 play, that's $4,000 you just made. Point one, you're making money. Point two, that crowd is glued on me. They're glued on me. I'll get 3 people at the end. What's your name? Stuart Sachs. What's your name? Bob Jones. What's your name? Jim Nelson. How about a hand for Jim? How about a hand for Stuart? Here we go. Stuart, you ready? Flip the coin, and it's heads. Hey, Stuart, you're the winner. The crowd's going crazy. I've got their attention. They're staring at me. They're looking at, and then I segue into the live auction. And I have a song that goes, it's Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. That starts the Heads or Tails. And the prize is a staycation. The prize is a trip to Nashville. The prize is, 100,000 airline miles on American. It's a cool prize. So everybody wants to play. Okay. It's for the organization to make money.
Right.
That's one game. Another game's called the last person standing or the runaround. When you do a donation or a funded cause, raise your paddle, cash call, it's all the same. At the end of that, you go 5,000, usually 2,500, 1,500. You're down to 100. And say some of the people that can't afford the 5,000 or the 2,000, they still want to play. Well, before we would do 100 and maybe get 5 or 6 people or 10 people and do $100, and that's great. But if you have a prize, back to your staycation, back to your trips, back to your whatever you got, back to your jewelry, back to your airline miles, etc. The last person that gives $100 wins the prize. So Stuart, you bought the $100. I go going one up. There's somebody else going once. Go up. There's somebody else going once, going twice. So the whole room is engaged. Everybody's spending $100. You'll make $5,000, $10,000 that you normally wouldn't make because everybody wants that prize.
Great concept. Great concept. What now, you've mentioned trips, you've mentioned jewelry, you've mentioned these baskets, you've mentioned all these auctions. How do you and your staff secure all these things to offer that nonprofit as part of the program?
Well, on the trips, I've been doing trips for probably 10 years. So I know the trip. I know where the trips are. It's not a hotel. What value do I have at a Hilton hotel? Right. So these are villas. So if you're in Tuscany, they're 3-bedroom villa with a welcome buffet, cheese tour, wine tour, etc. So we have all this set up. So I pick the destinations that we feel like are popular. People want to go. Mallorca, we just got that. We've got Santorini in Greece. We've got Ireland at a golf course, beautiful golf course near Cork, Ireland. These are places that are affordable. They want to go. We have a good relationship, and we coordinate the travel. We're the concierge. We're the travel planners. We'll coordinate the trip for you. So you're all at a one-stop shop. I also have part of my company is social media. We're announcing in a newsletter in August, we have social media. So for the nonprofits, we know how to do the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube. We do all that. And I've exploded on social media. So we're now having a part of my company that's social media to enhance any nonprofit social media. We can work with them, do agreement. We'll do an audit, come by their office, see the audit, give them a chance to say, you're not doing what you should. You need to get exploited of your nonprofit in the real world that you're not. Advertising's kind of gone on TV. Advertising, a lot of this advertising is now on social media. So I'm just saying, guys, it's affordable. It'll get your name out there. And when you're doing an event, the world needs to know about your event. You got to promote the items that you're selling. You got to promote the event. You got to get the sponsors. And this is all how we can do it. We're now just starting that off social media. DM social media is just starting.
And am I correct that you, while you are here, and because you now have the virtual and the hybrid options, that if somebody's watching and they're sitting in Kansas City right now and saying, "Wow, this guy is amazing," and I wonder if he can do something for us.
Absolutely.
So we're talking anywhere in this country. If you and your organization, the first thing you need to do is to say, how much do we need to raise? And
right.
Then I'm going to talk for you, Dean. All I got to do is get in touch with you and say, hey, listen, can you help us?
And that's the key. I mean, look, if we're, again, Kansas City or Chicago, we're doing Chicago for the second year, the third year. In 2022, they've already booked me for Chicago to go up there. So this is the third year with the same event. 2 years are virtual, 1 year's in person. 2022 is in person, 2020 and 2021 are virtual. We can flex and make you money wherever you are. That's what we can do. So, this trip, for that genre, for this event, for this theme, for this demographic, for this crowd, I take that into consideration. And, doing all this with the social media and the trips and the raffles and the merchandise and the memorabilia and the ideas, we're kind of a consultant that we provide to you. And people say, how much do you charge? That's the $1 million question. Well, there's certain variables. How big is your crowd? How many live items are you going to have? How many spotters do I need to bring? But we don't do a percentage of what you sell. I don't do that. It's a line item. The auctioneer, the spotter, the technology, and the support. Some auctioneers, and that's up to them. If you do 100,000, we're going to get 3%. And sorry, we don't do that. We want you to optimize and make as much money as you can. Somebody asked a question, do they ever want original art donations? I've got a theme painter named Lance Brown that I've used for 10 years, and he'll do a speed painting on the deal. So if it's sports, if it's Christian, if it's military, he will do a theme of your event. Within 5 minutes, he will paint it upside down. He's colorblind, and it's on my website. It's the wow factor of all wow factors. At Catholic Charities, he did the Pope, and I think we sold 8,000 times 5. That was $40,000 of those paintings. So we had some other paintings he did. The things, there are 3 hard things to sell on stage, and this is to answer that gentleman's question. The art is very specific. Stuart, you have art in your bedroom. You have art in your living room. That is customized of your personality, of your family wants. The art on stage is very centric. It's very specialized. It's somewhat difficult. I tell people to put the art on the silent auction. You'll get bids all week because you can bid before the auction starts until that night. The second thing is the animals, the dogs. We've sold dogs and dogs and dogs. Don't forget, you're bringing a baby home. You're bringing a puppy home. You've got another person in your family. So You're going to be a good provider, but yet it's an animal. So you're going to buy that animal. They know that beautiful dog that was a puppy is going to grow up and it's going to be part of your family. And people love it. We feel good. The third thing is jewelry. When you try to sell a $5,000 necklace, and I got 1,000 people in the room, Stuart, it's very challenging and difficult to go around the room with the Vanna White, my model, to show each person. So I try to say, look, if the jewelry, we can pre-sell it, or you can sell it the silent, or you do it on the raffle, it will sell. Not that we can't do it, but yet don't forget, if I'm going to spend $5,000, Stuart, I want to see that darn piece of jewelry. And you're in this side of the room, and the other person's on the other side of the room. Those are kind of 3. I give a seminar, and I've got a summary of the seminar that if anybody wants to see it, I absolutely can send my seminar. We did it. It's about an hour-and-a-half seminar from everything, soup to nuts, everything in our company, how we do it, what we do, how we can raise you money. The photo booth is fun. We've got that. we've got the photographer, we got the AV, we got the raffles. The raffles are a great thing. They're $25 for one, $50 for three, 8 for 100, and 20 for 200. And the girls we've got are dressed appropriately for the event, and they're selling the raffles. People say, well, I got my own raffle people. Well, it's kind of like you saying, I've got my own spotters. Stuart, you could be a spotter for me, but somebody else will say, hey, I'm in the audience and I'm having a drink and I'm talking to my buddies and I'm looking to go sell this trip to Napa, and this guy's not paying attention. You're not focused. So that's the same with the raffle girls. They get 15% commission and the organization gets 85% commission of what's sold. At golf tournaments, I've sold $22,000 of raffles of the girls selling them when they check into the golf tournament. That is fact, and that's real.
Well, and also for the organization, it says, well, we've got people that'll sell the raffles. Well, listen, put it in Dean's hands so that the people that you have selling the raffles, they can enjoy themselves.
Thank you, Stuart. 100% thank you. Absolutely, Stuart.
They can be
enjoy the night. Have fun. Right. My
right.
shift's from 8 to 9. Oh, husband, I got to go cover the front desk. No, you don't have to worry about that.
DMAuctionServices.com. Dean, I can't thank you enough for
I can't thank you, Stuart. It's great to be with you.
Sharing with the audience what you do. I think it's just great. And it is, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. If you're part of a nonprofit and you want to raise some money, put it in the hands of the pros. Put it in the hands of Dean and let him give you an option. You could say, listen, you know what? It doesn't quite sound right for us, or our board didn't like it, whatever. But you can't win if you don't play the game. What we do,
Stuart, if they have a question with the committee of the board, we do a Zoom. I do like 5 Zooms a week. And on the Zoom, it's me with you like right now. And you're the XYZ nonprofit. And I'll tell you, let's talk. What we do. I'll answer the questions about the trips. So the Zoom call is a great refresh. The new technology is Zoom because of COVID. But everybody we do now is a Zoom where I don't have to come to your office and sit there and have a cup of coffee and go through a presentation on PowerPoint. I'll preempt you with the information before we do the Zoom, and you'll have everything you need. And I'll have the price proposal to you also. But I appreciate it. Stuart, it's great to be with you. You're a good friend, and I enjoy it.
Very, very, very nice talking to you, Dean. Keep up the great work. $50 million he's raised in 15 years. That's wow. That's big numbers.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. It really does. It's going absolutely to the nonprofits.
Well, what it means is whatever you're doing it right, and keep on doing it.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Thank you.
Thanks for being with me. That'll do it for another show. I really appreciate you spending time with us on Someone You Should Know. Go out there and be yourself because everyone else is taken. Talk to you next week.